Hi guys. So, this is going to be the first episode of a series I'm starting called Trans Education, where people who may not understand everything that there is about transgender people can use these videos and kind of gauge their knowledge, not gauge, what's the word? Expand their knowledge on what it is to be transgender. So the first thing that I want to talk about is this whole episode is going to be super basic for people that are experienced in it. And the ones that aren't experienced in it, this is going to be all new, and it's hopefully going to be fun. So the first thing is going to talk about what being trans is, and also where that word came from. So, first of all, trans is a prefix, and it's not like it's this whole subsection of a gender. So, the prefix trans comes from the meaning of to go from one place to another. So you have things like transition, transportation, etc. So for a trans female, it is somebody who's transitioning to that destination. So a trans male would be the same thing. You're transitioning to that destination. And that's it. That's it. You're good. Okay? It's done. That's it. Now, the thing is, there's another word that is the opposite of trans, and that word is cis. And you may or may not have heard that word for a little bit, and what that word means is on the same side. So, cisatlantic, where you're on the same side as what's already going on. So, if you're being called a cis man, a cis woman, that means that you are at that destination. You're a man. You're a woman. The only reason that terminology exists is to couple with people calling trans females and trans males trans female and trans males. Again, it's not anything negative, it's not anything wrong or anything like that. It's just to help identify the two words. And neither of them are negative, and neither of them should be looked at negatively. So, now that that's out of the way, another thing to understand with somebody being called trans is it's not a noun. You're describing somebody. Trans is just the abbreviation or the prefix. So trans female. Or you're saying like transition, so you're trans, like it's a weird thing. Basically, like, you're describing something. You are transitioning to a female. You're transitioning to a man. That's not saying that being a trans man is a completely new thing, because it's not. There's nothing different other than just the journey of having to do HRT and the surgeries that you'll be going through. So HRT is an acronym. It's used in a lot of other cases too. It's used for women going through menopause, actually, in some cases. But HRT stands for hormone replacement therapy. And what that is that's either used to give additional hormones to somebody. For example, a woman in menopause needing that extra estrogen. Or, in the case of transgendered individuals like myself, HRT is used to reduce the initial hormones that you have and add the hormone that you're trying to have more of in your body. So in my case, it's going to be estrogen. There's also testosterone if you're trying to transition into a man. So when it comes to figuring out if hormone replacement therapy is right for you, if you're transitioning, you're going to have to figure out if you have something called gender dysphoria. And it sounds like a weird word, but it's really not. So the whole thing with gender dysphoria is it's the feeling of you just not being physically the way that you feel mentally. And that's the easiest way to describe it. So if somebody is experiencing gender dysphoria, they would feel like maybe they just don't feel like they're a man or a woman. They don't feel like the physical gender that they were assigned with at birth. And so they start to experience just the feeling of not really fitting in anywhere and feeling weird, just extra weird. Like everyone, when you grow up, everyone's kind of got like the whole like awkward phase or whatever, like you're trying to find yourself. This is in a way a bigger version of that. It's like a more serious version of that. And so to compensate for gender dysphoria, you are usually prescribed hormones. So if you are like me and you are a trans female, you are taking estrogen, and you're also taking another medicine, another pill that blocks testosterone. So for short, it's usually called like a T blocker. But what those two things do is, because you can't just pump somebody's body full of estrogen, or you can't pump somebody's body full of like testosterone, because then you'll freak out. Your body won't know what to do. So what they do, and what all good doctors do that are handling this with you, they give you small doses of each and they work their way up. So you're going to want to be within this threshold for testosterone and this threshold for estrogen. And depending on which side you're trying to transition to, either you're going to have higher estrogen or you're going to have higher testosterone, while the other one is going to be dropped down by the latter pill, which is used to block that initial intake of the hormones that your body gets on its own. So for me, testosterone blockers. Now, all of that stuff sounds like super weird and super complicated, but it's really not. This video also is more serious than a lot of my videos are going to be, just because this is something I wanted to do as an introduction to educating people on how somebody experiencing gender dysphoria and somebody that is transgendered, how to kind of introduce yourself to that whole thing and what that really... There are a lot of people that are confused, and it's hard for some people. People have grown up different ways, people are experiencing different things, and it's never an easy thing for everyone to understand each other. So that's what this video is for, and I really hope it helps a couple people figure some things out, and I hope it helps people who have friends or family that are transgendered. I hope it helps you guys understand those individuals better. And the next video in this series, it's going to go more in depth on certain specific features and certain specific attributes of transgendered people. And I'll probably be using myself as more of an example for that, instead of just talking more facts and abbreviated definitions. But those videos are also going to be a lot more lighthearted, as my content will mostly be. So again, I wanted to thank you guys so much for watching this, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye!